Bit of a strange title, isn't it? Does he mean it? I do, but for some really specific things. Here's 7 reasons why you should never, ever meditate. Watch this video. Seven reasons why you should never ever meditate. Don't meditate if any of these things apply to your life, because you're going to cause yourself misery and it's just not going to be worth it. This is meant to be a healing journey, remember? Not a punishment journey. First thing, never meditate ever. Don't even think of the idea if you're not mature or ready enough to deal with your past. When we meditate, we get flashbacks, we get little emotional pangs. We get drawn into the idea of the past. We get little mental images that remind us of what it was like in the past, especially as we meditate and especially as we try and quiet the mind. So if we're not ready to deal with the past or the pain of the past or the past coming up, don't meditate. It's going to make your journey a real struggle. Second reason to never meditate is, meditation will make you feel totally and utterly connected to your little slice of life. So if you don't want to feel connected to life, double negative, don't meditate. We can now tell that this was total clickbait, right? If you don't want to feel that deep feeling connection to your bit of life, I don't mean life external to you, although it does also encompass that. I just mean the life inside of you, that thing that's throbbing through your veins, the aliveness that we feel in our being. Don't meditate if you don't want to feel that, because after a while, in that state of being of meditation, the mind will drop and we'll be in this pristine feeling stillness. We'll be feeling our little slice of life, feeling our being. So never meditate if you don't want to feel totally connected to life, because at some point you will. Yes, don't meditate, never meditate if you don't want your perceptions challenged. If you don't want, if you're a sort of person that sees life one way and you're very committed to seeing life in just one way, ascribing yourself to one way of being, usually the way that we're taught, the way that we're conditioned. If we're so gripped to that egoic notion of life, don't meditate. Never ever meditate, because as we meditate, we begin to notice that actually our perceptions aren't necessarily real. They aren't true for other people, and therefore they're not universally true. If something's universally true, it has to be true for us and true for others too. And sometimes our perceptions are right for us, but they're not right for other people, and therefore it's perhaps time to change them, and perhaps time to wake up out of perceptions itself. We're the witness in this body. Perceptions arise. So if you don't want to meditate, whilst we're meditating, we'll see our perceptions arising, perhaps slightly skewed by our conditioning. And if we don't want our perceptions challenged by the awareness that meditation brings us, then meditation isn't for you. 4, never meditate if you don't want to lose your mind. Now you can hear that one of 2 ways. The negative way, lose your mind, go crazy. And the positive way, lose your mind. Meaning you'll still be able to think, but as you meditate, you're not really in the state of being of meditation if your mind is active. If we're thinking about things, if we're thinking about the shopping list, or thinking about picking the kids up from school, or thinking about our journey home, that's not meditation. To be put into the state of being of meditation, we usually have to do some yoga, because it quiets the mind and it draws us into this inner feeling state, right? Excuse me. But that inner feeling state is a mindless, meditative state. So, again, you'll be able to think, but it will be a choice. When we're in meditation, we're not thinking. We've lost our mind. Not like we can't have it back. Like, we can think, but don't meditate if you're not open to losing your mind, losing that negative rhetoric upstairs that's constantly talking to us, making us feel crap about ourselves. Because after a while, after some persistence in meditation, you will lose that mind. Don't meditate. Another reason why you should never meditate is if you're not willing to come up against temptations. I think it's in the Bible, isn't it, that Jesus went into the forest for 40 days and 40 nights and he was tempted. And this is really what this story in the Bible is about. It's really our experience. As we begin to meditate and quiet our minds, we notice that our temptations, our bad habits, our going out and eating bad food, are wanting to have a beer, or are wanting to, go and have sex or do other things that really aren't truly in alignment with who we're here to be. These temptations will come up as we meditate. Of course, it's pure and proper meditation if we are employing what we call in yoga a parigraha, meaning non-attachment, meaning these temptations can come up and pass in our consciousness as we are the one witnessing them. We aren't them. But if we get attached to them, we have to see that perhaps our meditative abilities aren't quite maybe at a strong level yet. Maybe we're still a beginner, and that's fine. And if you wish to increase these abilities, down below there's a free, let's call it guided meditation. It's more of a breathing practice and guided meditation, in which temptations may arise. They certainly will. They do for me. But we can then witness them with a powerful awareness that this breathing practice down below will put you into, will make you feel, in a sense. Two. Sorry, I'm reading my notes the opposite way around because it felt right. 6. Don't meditate. You should never meditate if you're not willing, or you're not ready, or you deny the shadow self inside of you, your dark side. That's all I mean, really. Don't never ever meditate if you're not really ready, mature enough to be able to sit there and deal with the darkness. Dark feelings, yes. Perhaps dark sexual proclivities, perhaps, in your mind. Perhaps dark intentions like control, manipulation. This shadow side, we all have it in ourselves. It's part of the collective unconscious. Don't worry, you're not alone. But don't meditate, never ever meditate if you're not ready to deal with that, to be aware that that is a part of you. If you're denying it and resisting it, it will persist. If you allow it, the meditation might be right for you. Do meditate. But if you're not ready to not deal with that side, but to accept that side of yourself, then don't meditate, because it will come up and it will be very obvious to you that that is a part of us. It's the yin to our yang, the dark to our light. There has to be this play of duality, and then maybe we transcend them both and notice that we're the witness to any dualistic plays, the dark side and the light side of us. We're actually not encased in either of them, because we're separate totally to the dark and the light. We're the witness to both. If we can speak like that, who knows? Okay, and finally, never meditate if you don't want to heal your limiting beliefs. Meditation as a state of being. I keep saying as a state of being because you can't just, it's not something you do. Meditation isn't something you do. You don't just say, I'm going to sit down and meditate, because that isn't meditation. Meditation is a state of being that you awaken in you through yoga, or through, I'd say yoga, but through any practice like that. Perhaps if you go to the gym and your endorphins are released, at the end you're like, there's no mind in you left anymore, there's just this nice feeling. That's meditation. That is the state of being that we're looking for. And in that state of being, we can become aware, because we're powerful enough, right? We have this nice feeling buffer. We become aware of our limiting beliefs as they open themselves up to us. And then, as we continue to feel them and realise that we don't actually prefer those limiting beliefs, we begin to heal them in that state of being of meditation. So if you aren't ready to heal your limiting beliefs, don't meditate. Because at a point you will, at first when we begin meditation as a state of being, after we've done our yoga and we sit down in our meditation seat and we've got that nice drawn in feeling, that feeling is so powerful that it will karmically obviously, yes, throw a load of crap at you by way of limiting beliefs, but also it will give you a nice feeling space from which to witness them. There's a distance between you and your limiting beliefs, and therefore you know they're not naturally yours. And therefore also we know that we can change them, right? They're changeable because we're the unchanging witness to these changeable limiting beliefs. It's us that's choosing to hold on to them so tightly sometimes as well, and some of them are very stubborn. But if you don't want to heal them, or if you don't want to be bugged by them constantly, then don't meditate, because there's no point. You will be. We have to be quite strong to be in that state of being of meditation, if this makes sense. I hope it does. Down below, of course, if you're going through an awakening process and you don't have anybody to speak about it with, or you're going through a Kundalini awakening, for example, and nobody else understands what the hell you're talking about, that's fine. It's likely because the ego's grabbed hold of the experience and it's, showing off a bit sometimes. I've dealt with a couple of people like that. But that's the same as me. I mean, I went through that process, and whilst that's going on, it can be very difficult for you to connect with people, if that makes sense. So down below there's a community for you. It's totally free. I'll never charge you for it. And there's about 300 people in there going through the same experiences. It's what we call a sangha. People connecting together of a like mind, going through the awakening process together to empower each other. Okay, that will do. There's 7 reasons or so as to why we should never meditate. Don't meditate if any of those things apply to your life, because you're going to have an awful time doing it. And remember as well, my teacher always used to say, meditation is a state of being that we get put into. It's one of the 8 limbs of yoga, and it is the 5th or 6th. Yoga or asana is the 3rd. We have to be doing yoga to put ourselves in to this state of being. We have to, I'll make a video maybe one day on the 8 limbs of yoga, but to be put into that state of being in meditation, most of us can't just drop into that state yet, especially at the beginning. But with yoga, which is why if you're doing the Dark Night of the Soul practices down below, it's good to do a bit of yoga first, because then that will create the state of meditation from which the breathing practices will then make more of a potent, deep impact in you, because the mind's not there so much anymore. Anyway, that'll do. Thank you very much for watching, and have a nice day.